Surprise! I'm back. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel after a almost 2-month long hiatus. I am gonna be completely honest. I took the end of the year break and I just could not get back into it. So here we are. I have several videos filmed for you guys. I just haven't done the voiceovers for them. So here we are. So today we are going to be working on a Valentine's-y, but not so in-your-face Valentine's tumbler, because if you're anything like me, Valentine's themes don't sell for me. So it's not really worth it to put a bunch of time and effort into something that's just going to sit on my shelf. So we're going to kind of do a mix between kind of Valentine's, kind of springy, but you could totally use it all year round. That's what we're going for. So we are going to start out with a 32-ounce Plump from the Tipsy Magnolia. I bought one that was white based. If you don't, you can just spray paint it white. And then I'm going to take probably about 30 mLs of Epoxy to about 10 mLs of Snowbird from Olive's Outlet Glitter. This is on the Peachy Olive website. Now they're combined. They are a lower quality, but not really lower quality. They're outsourced, I guess I would say, overseas. I don't really know, but the quality is great, so I don't really care either way. So we're basically going to mix the glitter into the epoxy and apply that wet to the cup, and we're going to let that spin around until it's dry. Torch it. You will notice streaks in the cup when you apply that glitter wet within your epoxy. That will all work itself out. You won't be able to see the streaks in the end, assuming that you have full coverage glitter when you're applying it to the cup. So once that's all dry, we're going to go around to the rim and sand that, and then we're going to start marking off where we want our vinyls. Because this plaid is a very intentional pattern, meaning that it's not easily camouflaged, I guess, I'm going to make sure that when I'm cutting it right on the line of where the plaid squares start and stop. I don't want any half squares on there. And once that's trimmed up, then I'm going to go and measure the cup to make sure when I'm actually applying that vinyl that I have full sets of plaid squares on there. I'm then going to take the semi-transparent floral pattern. This is from Banff Custom Creations. It's called Valentine something. I'll link it for you guys in the description box. Once I've got that marked off on the bottom for the plaid, I'm going to go in, and the remainder of that top portion of the cup is going to be dedicated to this floral pattern. I hate measuring. I will avoid it at all costs if possible. So I'm just going to put my vinyl along where I marked that Sharpie on the cup and measure it on the vinyl. I'm not actually measuring anything. And just a side note, I realized halfway through this that using a dry erase marker is 1,000,000,000% easier than a Sharpie. It wipes right off. So I would recommend starting with that and not a Sharpie. So once I've got that all measured off, I'm going to put both horizontal and vertical measure kind of lines, straight lines on there. And that's just to make sure that the plaid is going to be completely seamless. Everything's going to meet up at the end. I've got it completely squared on the cup before I apply it. And then I'm going to remove about 1 inch of the backing on that plaid vinyl. And we're going to press the vinyl on while pressing the backing off. I'm just using the felt portion of my squeegee, and it's pretty easy to do if you've done this before. Once it's fully on the cup and the seams are aligned, we're just going to kind of score that and then cut it with the X-Acto knife and remove the excess. Once the vinyl is laid down where I want it and how I want it, I'm just going to press any air bubbles out of there after I poke it with my X-Acto knife. Once all of the bubbles are removed, I'm going to go in with the top portion of the florals and I'm going to kind of get it where I want it. But before I lay it down, I'm gonna take any like half images on the ends where the seams meet up, and I'm just gonna cut those right out. I want this to look completely seamless. I don't want any like half florals or half any parts of this design on here. So I'm just going to cut that off and line it up and lay it down. And then once I get to the end where the seams meet again, we'll go ahead and do some damage control to make sure that the rest of the other end of that seam, that it doesn't have any half florals or anything like that. So same process as the plaid. I'm just going to use the hinge method and apply it with my felt squeegee. And then I'm not going to completely lay it down. I'm just going to kind of flip it back and forth like you'll see here, just trying to gauge where the flowers are gonna land and where they're gonna overlap. I'm gonna cut out anything that's going to overlap, and then I'm going to cut out the florals on the portion that still has the backing on it after I've removed that. And then once it's completely laid down, you're not even gonna see where the seam started. Next, I'm going directly in with this textured silver metallic vinyl, and normally I wouldn't do this over vinyl or a non-epoxied surface if it's not like a paint surface, but because it's textured, you're not going to be able to see the seams of the vinyl. It does a really great job at masking any like minor bumps underneath it that are in your epoxy, or you know, you can go straight over vinyl with that. It's not going to impede with the design. You can't see it. Would not recommend doing this with any like flat metallic. I don't even know if that's the word, shiny metallic. That's the word I'm looking for, because you will completely see it. So make sure if you are not using textured that you're going in with a coat of epoxy first. For the textured vinyl, the center strip that I did there, that was cut out at 11.5 width by 0.10 height. And then the bottom is a very thin strip that's 11.5 width by 0.05 height. It's super tiny. I didn't want to have anything bulky at the bottom, but I didn't want to also leave it open and to look unfinished. So I just went in with a super thin stripe, and here you're seeing me cover up this little mark that I had at the bottom. I actually had a Swifty cup planned out for this cup, and I kind of changed gears and ended up doing this. So I had to cover that up because it was underneath all of the glitter and epoxy. There was no way to hide it other than to stick something over it. So next I'm going to go in with some polyacrylic. I didn't film that portion. You guys have seen that before. I just put that all over the cup to make sure that the vinyl and the striping didn't lift. Everything stayed in place, especially that bottom super thin stripe that has a tendency to lift under epoxy. And then I put on about 30 mLs of Flynn Sisters regular setting Artist Cure resin. I let that sit overnight, and once it was completely cured, this cup was done. I don't know if I'm going to do a decal on this yet. I haven't decided. If I do, I can just go right over this with another coat of epoxy. But for now, that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed my comeback. This isn't a super complicated design, but I thought I would get it out before Valentine's Day and show you guys that I'm still here. So I will be uploading regularly from now on, now that I'm back in the swing of things. And I hope you guys enjoyed my first video of 2024. I will see you guys next weekend.